A quick note before we get into the episode. Oversharing is a podcast for entertainment purposes only. It is not a medical podcast and does not constitute medical or psychological advice. Always seek the advice of your physician or mental health professional. Hello and welcome back to Oversharing. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Dr. Naomi Bernstein.
Happy birthday. I know you had a big birthday yesterday. I wanted to hear how your birthday went, but I also wanted to hear about your thoughts on my potentially controversial take that I don't think you should call people on their birthday.
Oh, interesting. You know what? I actually thought about this independently of you bringing it up.
Independently bringing it up and me not calling you on your birthday?
Yes.
I did text you.
Yes. No, you did text me and you said in the text, like, not going to, bother you on your birthday. But it's funny because it's a trend, I think. And I didn't notice it until, it was kind of like woke up in the morning and all of my siblings, this is what I'm thinking to myself. All of my siblings, except Jordana, called me on my birthday.
Called you?
So now,
That's what you thought?
Gosh, wait. Yes.
Oh, wow. I'm the worst. And there's so many of us too.
No, it wasn't even in like a Jordana sucks way. It was in a, like, none of my friends actually called me. Like they all sent texts, like very nice texts, but usually it's like, that's the one day where you pick up the phone and you call.
Right.
So it's interesting because I was kind of like, I wonder, is that necessary? Like, why does that feel like special? Or I guess it just feels different, right? It's kind of like the one time when you actually call. But I get your perspective. You're doing what you're doing.
I'm doing it because like that's kind of what I want. Like and you know what? I think it's because we have so many siblings and like you do get so many calls from them and then like your parents and then all these people. And like in my mind, I'm like, I love catching up with my siblings, but also like I want to like if it's my birthday, I have like a plan that I'm doing.
You're right.
Right.
Yep.
And so part of me is like, it's, you know what? I think it's great to get like a voicemail or a text and then a call like the next day or that week.
Yes.
Like when it's not your actual birthday and you're not doing anything. So like my mind is like a text is like, I remember your birthday. I acknowledge your birthday and like, I love you. And I'm not going to like interrupt your flow by you having to like not be like rude and answer my birthday call.
Right. I totally get it. It's also like, you're probably not going to have like a big, 40 minute catch up with everybody, on that one day. So like,
Nor would you want to, right? I would assume.
Yeah, but
like you're hanging out with your husband, your kids.
Yeah. But I wouldn't mind like a catch up on that day or two even.
Okay.
Like we really wasn't doing much. But I get it. That wasn't going to be me and you yesterday, probably, because like we have other times that we chat or we chat here. And I wasn't mad.
Okay.
I just was thinking more. I was actually thinking more in terms of my friends.
Right.
It was like, that's the time that we like always call. And this year was different, which was just.
You usually do get a call.
Yes. Interesting that you're saying like you're starting a new thing of like, I'll text you on your birthday. I'll call you the week after. And I happen to be thinking, wow, interesting. This was the first year that like I didn't get phone calls from my friends, but maybe there's like a trending thing of like, everyone's kind of saying, hey, I'm probably either not going to pick up, or if I pick up, it's going to be a quick like, hey, thanks for calling. Love you. Bye.
Well, that's why I like a text because like you can read it in your own time. You can answer whenever you like have a minute. There's no like feeling of I have to call that person back or I'm being rude. But I could see why like there's like a specialness to a call. Sometimes I'll get a text from friends that are like, happy birthday. Like, let's catch up this.
Yes.
Especially if we're not talking frequently. But here's the thing that I did that based on my own preferences. If your preference is a call, I'll call from now on.
Whatever. I don't care. Do whatever you want. I'm kidding.
Especially with like the nieces and nephews as they get older. I'm like, they don't want to like spend their birthday like talking to their aunt about like what their birthday plans are. Like they just want to like enjoy their birthday.
Yes. And kids don't have, like, I think if you called, we could easily do the thing where it's like, hey, in the middle of this, love you so much. Thanks for the call. Happy birthday. Bye. You know,
Right.
kids are a little bit more like, so what are you doing today? And they're like, I really don't feel like talking about this right now.
Hopefully anything but this.
Yeah. So I'm good with either one, honestly. And
Doesn't sound like it.
I mean,
here's the thing. If your preference is a call, I'll call from now on.
Yeah. No, you don't. Honestly, if it was like the next day, that's great. Or a text and then, hey, let's catch up the next day. That's fine. It's not you. You were just like I was the trigger. My feelings were projecting onto you because I was kind of like, okay, well, I have so many siblings and they all call me except Jordana. So, so that's the only reason why it came up. But yeah, it's just
now that I know that you prefer a call, I will call every year.
All right, fine.
It's for you. I didn't call for you. I appreciate. That was part of.
I appreciate the gesture. No, but I do think that it was more about like, I think this happens to people all the time. There's like a little trigger of something, and I'm just going to explain my press. There was a little trigger of like, my friends didn't call for the first time. Does that mean we're drifting apart? Does that mean this friendship is changing? Does that mean we have, like, what does that mean? Like writing a story and a narrative around it when it was probably just like, maybe they were busy that day. Maybe they had the same thought you did. Maybe I'll get a call this week. But in that moment, that like, that little pit thing is like, does this mean my friendships are,
they don't like me anymore?
Yeah, or just like it. Yeah, I mean,
fading.
Yeah, I guess maybe there was a little bit of that. Like, did I do something to upset them, or just your mind starts to go in that direction where, when I pull myself back, I'm kind of like, if the whole friendship is going to be boiled down to one phone call in one day, that's a little ridiculous.
Right, but I guess if they don't live close, it can feel more important.
Totally. Right.
Maybe that's a part of it.
Yeah. I mean, it is an interesting thought, and I really am fine with it. I don't need the, hey, happy birthday, gotta go doing this thing. I really don't. I think it was just tied into this. Are my friendships changing because this was a thing that we would like always do,
right?
That now we're not doing anymore. So
I could see that. Well, our relationship is not changing. In fact,
I know.
I also knew we had like this, obviously this isn't private, but we have our own catch up, and I'm kind of like, again, does she want? I'm always thinking like, does she like? I'm always thinking of. I'm just so. Generous.
I will not call you on your birthday.
No, I like what you do, and my siblings with kids do, which is always so cute. Is they leave like a family, like if I'm busy and they're leaving like a family little voicemail of the kids like singing, or especially when the girls were little. I remember I used to send those videos and I would like listen to them, and it was like really fun. Like I love a birthday voicemail that I can like get back, because I mean, I don't know, it depends on the year. Some years I'm doing less than others, but if I'm having like, sometimes I'm having like people over, or I'm like going to dinner, and it's just kind of like I don't want to feel like it almost adds to a feeling of like, am I rude because I'm not picking up or I'm not answering? So
yes, I hear you. Well, a birthday voicemail is also nice. There's something about, I know a lot of people use apps to kind of like hear someone's voice and you talk through like what's going on or whatever.
Right.
To me, I'm like, a long voicemail, I love it. Like I have, a lot of my college friends that will leave these long voicemails, and I'm like, I just kind of felt like I had a little hang with you just by listening to your voice, cute. The tone of it and whatever. So
that must be
I love it all. I'm not angry. Yeah. I do think it's like a
lost art.
Voicemail used to be the thing. I probably aged myself by saying that, but a birthday voicemail is nice. I might not necessarily get back to you that day, but I heard you, and a little happy birthday, love you, whatever. It's all good.
Yeah. I like that. Okay. Well, now I'll know.
I will know what you like on your birthday. So I'm glad that we had this conversation.
Well, if it's a slow year, I'll text you that you can call. You're allowed to call me.
Like, please call me.
Yes,
I'm
I have
desperate
nothing going
bored.
on. I have nothing going on. No, it's true. And I think everyone's
All
through. It's
right.
kind of like it's like the love languages, right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
your love language might not be someone else's, but you should give someone what they want on their birthday. And I guess you wanted a
Totally.
call and I will give you a call. But also another part of this, and we've had some inquiries about this, is what you did on your birthday.
Oh, yes.
So people want to know.
Oh, really? Okay. Really, it was a really nice, chill birthday. We woke up, we hung out by the pool a little bit, chilled. Everyone, and then we came in, and this was one of my favorite parts, like a post sun birthday nap, ceiling fan. Like, it was heaven. I love a post sun ceiling fan nap. I did my 2 sessions of transcendental meditation, which is a new thing I'm doing. Then we, got dressed up. I curled the girls' hair. We had a little dress up party and we went out to dinner. So it was a nice, chill birthday.
Sounds like a lovely day.
It was
Good times.
really, really nice. Yeah. And I got some phone calls from some other people.
And it's a nice holiday weekend. So you had the extra.
Yeah, we did fireworks on Friday night. It was a nice
And
weekend.
your birthday's on Sunday. So the time you get to your birthday, you're probably nice and relaxed from
Totally. It was actually, that's exactly how it was. And we just had a chill day at home. It was great.
Love it. All right. Well, happy birthday from me and the rest of the Oversharing family that also didn't call
thanks,
you.
y'all. Yeah.
All right. And if you want more Oversharing, subscribe. You get all the episodes ad-free and a day early. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on YouTube. If you want to leave us a voicemail, if you have a question or a comment or feedback that we might read in our bonus episodes, you can call us at 646-363-6294, or you can email us at oversharing@betches.com. Or you can, are there any room in your therapy groups, Dr. Naomi?
Right at this very moment, I'm not sure, but still, like, if you're interested,
Rolling admission.
Yes, rolling admission. So when people leave, new people come in. So come find me at naomibernstein.com and just send out an email. And then when new openings arise, we will hit you up and we will match you up with the perfect group for you.
Yes, please check it out. And let's get into our show.
Let's do it.
All right, I'll read our first email. Hey, Dr. B and Jordana, I love this podcast and I recently subscribed because I'm back in the office and need all the extra content for my drives. Subscribe. I'll jump right in. I recently found out I am pregnant. I'm so happy and feeling so blessed. As I've been telling people, it got me wondering how much I should consider other people's triggers. I have a few friends and acquaintances that have gone through IVF struggles. However, all of them now have their own children through IVF or adoption. When I told them, I realized afterwards that maybe I should have been more sensitive. I know they aren't currently going through it, but I wonder how much that pain always sits with you. I was somewhat mindful and didn't go into detail about how easy and quick it happened for my husband and I. That would have definitely been insensitive. They received the news well and hugged me, and it didn't seem awkward. I just felt bad afterwards. It left me with the question, how responsible are we for other people's triggers? Should I have started the statement with, I know this may be hard for you to hear? Again, to clarify, they aren't currently going through their struggles and have beautiful, healthy children. But if you've struggled and been triggered by a topic once, does that mean you always will?
All right. I will ask you your opinion on this one first, specifically relating to this topic. Do you feel like you could use more sensitivity when people share that type of news, or you're just like, spit it out?
Well, I think like there's a sensitivity needed, but also like I do think it's different when you're going through it versus when you're like on the other side of something, like she's saying her friends are.
Right.
I almost think like an apology to someone who already has kids and is on the other side of having kids is like a little like condescending almost. Like, are you okay? I'm pregnant.
Right.
I'm pregnant. Are
Right.
you okay? Are you going to be okay?
Right, right,
Because it's
right.
like, you know what I mean? It's funny. It's like there's no right way to do anything. Like that would feel, I think, like a little like you don't think I can handle it, like, or something. And I think the more interesting question almost like around this emailer, and it could be related to anything, is like, how sensitive should you be about like anything with the chance that anyone might be
Yeah.
past, present, or future triggered by anything? Like if you had a friend whose parent was like dying or something, could you talk about your own parents? If you had a
Yes.
friend who was going through like, you know, who lost their job, could you talk about a promotion? Could you talk about like anything, or had lost their job in the past but now has theirs, like has a new one. Like
Yes.
I think the question of like, do we need to be mindful of every trigger someone could potentially have is sort of like the more interesting question here. I think obviously if you have a friend who is currently in the middle of going through something, there's like a certain sensitivity required, but you don't always know what people are or aren't going through. I think that it's almost like if you're close enough that that person has shared that with you, then you can be more sensitive. And I think she did the right thing where she's like, I didn't talk about how extremely quick and easy it was and how it happened immediately and we were
Yes.
barely even
Yes.
trying. Like I think that's obviously like these are her close friends, so she knows that. So she chose the details she did sparingly, but I don't think you need to apologize for good news to people who have had struggles with something in the past. I think that's sort of their own thing to deal with. I think we've said this on this show. It's like your triggers are your triggers. Like, should I have called you on your birthday with the idea was not calling you on your birthday? Was that potentially me triggering you about your friends not calling you? Like I
Yes.
could be
Right.
like I
You would
couldn't have
never
known
know
that.
that. Right.
Right. So I think it's kind of like I don't think you can expect the world to go around sort of guarding your feelings about any of these
Totally.
things. It's sort of up to you to
Yes.
process and work out your own triggers so they don't trigger you.
Yes. Yes. And I agree. I completely agree. I think in this situation, if they were still going through it and they were talking about it and you had had a conversation like 2 weeks earlier about how hard this was, I think it would be nice to say, I know this might be hard to hear,
Right.
but I'm pregnant or whatever. But I don't think you need to, not only like you're saying, anticipate anyone's triggers, but then the remnants of their old
Right.
wounds. Like it's like we're walking on landmines. So I think she handled it fine. I don't think she needed to say that, especially if they, have their kids now. And I do think people need to take more ownership over their own feelings. There is that instinctual urge when you feel hurt. It's just in our nature to look around and be like, whose fault is it that I'm hurt?
Right.
And it's you because you brought up this thing or because you meant it's like, no, I'm sad that I don't have a baby. It really isn't because you brought it up or you didn't bring it up.
Right.
This is my thing. So yeah, I do think if someone knows that you're going through something in that moment, it would be nice to say, just to acknowledge that. But yeah, we can't walk around, I agree, like trying
Yeah.
to anticipate everyone's sensitivities. And that's what friends are for. Like, I think you can say, if that does bother you, the best scenario is you come back and say, the way that you presented your pregnancy just made me feel a little bit unseen. I don't think this case where they already have their kids would be an example of that. But like,
Right.
if there was an example of the way that you shared this news made me feel unseen, then you can share that with that person. I don't think we need to be anticipating everybody's triggers. If you're hurt by something, come out with it, say it, then you can apologize or say, you're right. I should have thought about that, or I'm sorry, I didn't realize. And then you can move on.
I agree. And I think to like apologize before even like giving like to apologize for your news, or to say that, to almost like tell them that they should still feel sensitive about it is almost more annoying
Yeah.
in some
Yeah.
ways. I know maybe that's, I don't know, you're still feeling like bad for me, or like you're still, I don't know, you're still,
Or that's become
think
their
I can't,
whole like identity in
you think I can't
in your mind.
handle anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she handled it fine. I wouldn't, but the general thing of like taking ownership over your own triggers, yes, do that. Like, we have our wounds, and then those are our wounds to feel, to, lean into, to give ourselves nurturing and compassion. But if we can notice that urge to get angry at someone who touches our wounds, and then kind of take that breath and say, okay, this was here already. You didn't put this here. I
Right.
think is a great way to be in relationship.
Yeah. And if you go through life, I think like getting angry or trying to like avoid any potential triggers at any point ever, I don't think that's actually going to bring you safety. It actually leaves you just very vulnerable to being like angered at any moment or upset at any moment, as opposed to like working through the trigger so that when you do see a baby announcement or someone tells you something that evokes something, I mean, everything is personal. So everything you relate back to yourself. So like, that's not a bad thing. That just means like you have to think about how things make you feel, and probably you can do that through like meditation or any of those things, and then like release that as a like thing that's going to make you feel angry or make you feel like sad, and that takes a while.
And it's a sign, I think the good way to look at it is say, this is a sign that I need to nurture myself in this space. Like, I need a little compassion here. This thing is coming back up in me, or this insecurity or this
Mhm.
grief is coming back up in me. So instead of getting mad at you, I'm just going to realize, okay, maybe I need to like have a cry or journal about this or let this live. And it's funny because I noticed this with my kids. Like, if somebody hurts their feelings, like, I get very, like, my first instinct is to kind of be like, well, maybe that's not a good friend for you. Like, maybe she's not a good, like, almost
Right.
going to the place of like, they're
Demonizing the
hurting
other.
your
Yeah.
feelings. Yeah. Like, so they're the problem because they're hurting your feelings, instead of kind of being like, well, what's the insecurity that you're feeling that what this person said is triggering you so much? And maybe you need to do your own work around that insecurity, whatever that is.
Right.
So I noticed that and we set that example. That's probably how we all got like this in some way. Somebody taught you along the line, that person's hurting you, they're bad, like, they're the problem. Either get mad at
Right.
them or get rid of them or whatever. Versus, that person's hurting me. That means that I have something that I need to nurture in myself that they're just touching and it was already there.
Right.
So I
And
think
that's how you
as,
grow,
bringing, yeah, totally.
is to not
Otherwise,
cut
you
out
just walk
everyone
around
who
being mad at everybody. That's
right.
like,
And there are those people who
for sure.
do.
And
So
I could see as a parent, how parents might make that mistake of setting that example, or just anybody make that mistake of setting that example of like, you're hurt. Whose fault is it?
right. Yeah.
And kind
It's
of
it's
checking
harder
yourself
work.
like,
It's almost easier to do that than let's get into why this is hurting you.
yeah, because nobody wants to feel like anger is it feels safer. It feels more protective. It feels more like I can get rid of you.
Right.
And then the problem solved, as opposed to like, no, this is like literally in me and I can't really probably get rid of it. It's in me. The only thing I can do is nurture it, care for it, love it, let it breathe, let it live, but I can't get rid of it.
Agreed.
It feels like I could get rid of a person, I can get rid of the problem.
Well, you didn't do anything wrong, and I think we sufficiently answered that question.
Yeah. All right. Moving right along.
You want to do our Betchicist?
Yes, I will read our Betchicist. I love your podcast so much, and I've shared it with friends who love it too. Awesome. Thank you. I attended my niece's bat mitzvah last night, and it was held at a restaurant bar lounge. At each table, the restaurant put out all the food and a bunch of drinks, and there was a standalone bar as well. The drinks on the tables were all in unlabeled pitchers, big and small. At one point, my 1-year-old baby wanted water, so I served him what I thought was water from a pitcher on the table. Before handing him the glass, I smelled the drink and it was not water. It was straight up vodka. I was like, whoa, and laughed off the mix up with my family before serving him actual water. A little later, my husband, who was not at the table when I did it, made the same mistake. He poured a glass with vodka thinking it was water and smelled the drink before giving it to our baby. He didn't have the same reaction as me. My husband got mad. He saw zero humor in the situation and immediately wanted to speak to the manager of the place to complain about the fact that they have unlabeled pitchers of alcohol mixed up with non-alcoholic drinks on the tables where there were kids and teens who can easily, by accident or on purpose, drink the alcohol. The manager took zero responsibility and was only defensive and avoidant. My husband was so angry, but he managed to mostly keep it together until we got home so as not to cause a scene. At home, I tried to explain that I made the same mistake, but I didn't get so mad because I figured this is the way the place presumably is allowed to operate, and it's my responsibility as a parent to know and check what I'm feeding my kid. And I did check, and so did my husband, so no harm was done. He couldn't disagree more, saying it was too easy for him to accidentally give alcohol to our baby, and if he had done so, our baby would have had to go to the hospital and he would have been arrested. He was extremely shaken up. Now he wants to call the police and report the place for the way they serve alcohol. He also wants to confront my brother and sister-in-law for what happened, blaming them for choosing to host the bat mitzvah at a venue that could have harmed my baby and ruined my husband's life. For the record, I think my husband's right in feeling angry for what could have happened and for how the manager took zero responsibility. And I support him reporting the place to the police or whatever authority regulates how alcohol is served in restaurants. That said, I'm not as mad at the situation as he is. I think it's a funny story, to be honest, because no harm was done. And I don't agree with blaming my brother and sister-in-law for what happened. My husband, unfortunately, is interpreting my lack of outrage as a sign that I'm not on his side, and now he's mad at me too. What do you guys think? Should I be taking this more seriously for what could have happened? Only water on the table.
This was a good question.
Yeah.
Like,
What
I
do you
can see
think?
both sides. I feel like this is almost like not about the incident and more about like the way that they deal with these feelings of like, I guess for, it's funny with him, he's like triggered. He's like, I guess there's a fear and there's a trigger that comes out like an injustice was done that needs to be paid for.
Right.
And she doesn't think of it that way.
Right.
She thinks of it as like an almost situation that didn't actually happen. So, I mean, I do think it's kind of insane to put a pitcher of vodka anywhere. Like, why would you need vodka in a pitcher? That seems crazy.
At a bat mitzvah where there's like a bunch of 13-year-olds that probably would, some of which would love to get their hands on vodka.
Yeah,
Like it does seem weird.
I do agree. It seems very irresponsible. I guess like the fact that nothing happened makes it feel like he does seem to be wanting to make this a very large thing. And I can understand why for her, especially it's like her brother's event where she's
Right.
like, I'm not going to create this whole scene for something that didn't actually happen and like make a police report and like potentially embarrass him or make something weird because this all happened when like nothing really happened.
Right.
So I think there's a compromise here of like, maybe not an extensive police report or yelling at your brother and sister-in-law for choosing the venue, but calling the venue back, asking to speak to someone calmly in charge, maybe when you're less activated about the situation and just say like, hey, here's what happened. Here's what almost happened. I really think it would be very wise, like it seems like very unwise to be doing that because like it could potentially cause your venue. Like if the kid accidentally drank a glass of vodka, I think the venue would be in a lot of trouble also.
Right. Yes, for sure. I mean, I do agree. I think this is crazy to have unlabeled pitchers of vodka at a table and not come by and make sure everybody knows, hey, just
I
like
just don't know
that,
who's drinking that much vodka that it needs to be in a
that it
pitcher.
needs to be in a pitcher. Yeah. I totally agree. I think the whole concept, I think they do need to know that that's not a good concept and it doesn't work and they shouldn't do it again. What I think would be a great idea, because I agree, I think the issue is between her and her husband of kind of like him being so enraged and protective, I guess, over himself and the baby. Also,
Not
I
feeling
don't think
validated by that.
yes. Yeah,
Rage, yeah.
that she's not validating him. She's not on his side. I think it would be great if maybe she was the one that like called the venue back at some point ask to speak to somebody else, whoever it might be, or even the same person again, maybe a little bit, more calmly after everything is settled. And she was the advocate for like, we need to make sure this doesn't happen to somebody else, or this doesn't happen again. This is a big problem and could have ended up really badly. Although my hunch is his imagination of what would have happened. Like, I don't think that a baby's just going to chug down a bottle of vodka. They're going to
Right.
spit
They're
it
probably not
out. They're going
gonna
to cry.
enjoy it.
They're not going to really drink it. And then you probably like, I don't think the idea of him getting arrested after the baby like drinks a bunch of vodka. I think that's his fear of the worst case scenario of what would happen. But I think that if she could come to the table and say, I agree with you, I got this, I'm going to call, because I do feel upset, or I do feel like this probably could have been worse. It didn't end up that way for us, but I got your back, and I see where you're coming from. I think there probably is a little bit of like fear on her end that he's going to make a whole thing with the sister and her family and cause a big rift, and then it's going to be a conflict. Like, I think she doesn't want all that. So I think
Right.
you could find a middle ground where you're advocating, you're agreeing with him, but you're not causing like a whole war with your family over this. It wasn't really their fault. I'm sure they weren't like, I have a great idea. Let's put pitchers of vodka on the table with a bunch of babies and teenagers.
Yeah, no. Crazy concept, but I agree. I think there's a middle area where you can like escalate a situation or like do your part to like make sure this doesn't happen again without burning down relationships and the venue and like everything.
One last thing, I think what happens often is in the heat of it, like in the moment, you're in public, you're with a bunch of people, it's a party, it's a big event. She probably wanted to like de-escalate him. And in doing so, she might have been not validating his feelings. So I think you can go back afterwards and, make sure that he feels validated, that you agree that this is kind of a nuts way to serve alcohol and probably illegal, I'm assuming.
I would imagine to not have to like cards to have anyone to have access to vodka without showing an ID would be illegal.
Yeah, I'm sure this isn't totally kosher. So yeah, I think that just validating him either verbally or by going ahead and taking the lead on escalating it in some way.
He should be validated because like it is it is a potentially very, even if it's a 13-year-old who gets into that and gets really drunk, that's like who's probably more looking for that experience. Like I think
Yeah.
it is a very irresponsible thing to do, and it is angering that you could be like putting people at risk by doing that.
Totally. I agree. This was not cool, and they probably should say they shouldn't be serving it in this way. So if you want to go ahead and let them know, I think that would be a great idea. But yeah, I wonder if this is something that happens between them, like in terms of one person gets angry and the idea that he's like angry at her for not being angry enough.
Right. Yes.
I think that can happen in relationships too. Like, I want you to be more angry about this, and you not doing that is making me angry at you.
More angry.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And so you think in those scenarios the solution is to just be validating.
Yeah. Validating, and yeah, totally. Cause I think like there's a yin yang, like you don't want two people to be like enraged at the same time, because then you're kind of like just like both seeing red and not thinking clearly. And you don't want nobody to care, because then you're just like going through life accepting these injustices and not doing anything about it.
Right.
So sometimes you need to balance each other out, but that might feel like, I wonder if he's the one that always has to be, getting angry and doing the thing and fighting for what's, fair and right. And she gets to be the one that's just like,
No big
that
deal.
was,
Yeah.
it was crazy. Yeah, so funny. But yeah, I wonder if this is a bigger dynamic in their relationship. And if that's ringing a bell, then maybe you should have a conversation around that. Do you feel like you're the one that always has to be fighting the battle when I get to kind of sit back and,
Right.
because you're there, because you're the one fighting
Yeah.
the battle,
All right. Well, good luck. And I think this one can be resolved with a nice long conversation.
Yeah, long conversation. And I just will say this. I get this because I think personally in I'm like the calmer of the two in my relationship.
Yeah, you seem like maybe more of the her.
Yeah, definitely more of the her. And I think sometimes with Jeff, like I know that we as a family like need that. We need the person that's going to like stand up for the thing. But it's hard to always be that person because you feel like you're always the bad guy. You're the one that's always making the stink in the scene when ultimately like I benefit from that sometimes.
Right, you're social loafing off of the someone else's
Yes.
anger, and you
Yes.
get to be calm.
Yes.
It's like when you go on a trip and like someone plans the whole thing because they're really anal and like annoying about what you're doing, and you just get to just go and enjoy it.
Yes.
Um,
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I would give him some credit there. That might make him feel better.
Agreed. Thanks for trying to protect our kids and other
Yes.
kids in the future.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.